But when the thing that I had, I couldn't understand it. I mean, I understood it, and I was working on it. And then all of a sudden, like within a 2 or 3 week time, the Lord shifted all of it. And so then it came in pieces, and I didn't know what to do with the pieces. And so over time, over probably the last 5 weeks, I have now gotten received the pieces. So it's where most of us are. It's just a fact if we can acknowledge that we there is a way out, but it requires inaction. It doesn't require action because action can be brought by anybody. It requires inaction. So what we're going to do, and we thank and welcome all of you for joining us. We are starting a tad bit early. We're dealing with dealing and accepting and understanding my own reality, which is more of a personal series for each one of us because each one of us have a different challenge in life. And I was just sharing as we were coming on camera is this is the winter series, and these are the three things that we're going to deal with in the winter series. Purpose over me. Number two, purpose over a person. And number three, purpose over people. And I'm going to share with you the introduction of why this is critical. I was looking and I received something from a video from Steve Harvey that he sent out to the world. It wasn't specifically to me. And it was called Brain Drop. And it says, Millennials, Generation Z is asking him the question, how to make a million. And he said something that was very powerful. He said most people get bogged down and stuck with the process, or they get overwhelmed with how big the process is. He said the key thing that an individual has to do is identify. So if you're going to write, I want you to write this. It's time to identify your God given gift. Now, this is what I want to say. If you say you don't know, you haven't spent enough time in action. You haven't spent enough time with you and God and being alone. Your loneliness, your emptiness is not loneliness and emptiness. It's actually a period in your life to recalibrate. Now, I'm going to show you this through the Word of God. Remember, the winter series is purpose over me. That's the first thing we're going to look at is purpose over me. Because what we don't understand is that we get in the way of our development in God because sometimes the way God is leading us is not the way we want to go. I'm going to give you two caveats. Man on the ground, God in the sky. Which one are you listening to? The turtle on the ground can only see what's in front of him. If we are connected to God, there are a lot of pit holes and pitfalls we would sidestep. But because there is no drone, no guide, no real spiritual connection, then every pitfall we run into because we really don't understand our purpose. Sometimes God is stripping us. Sometimes God is reshaping us like a clay and a potter on a wheel. We may have started out in this direction, but then God says, that's not the direction. That's not how you're going to get there. And I'll give you this real quick historical fact. The children of Israel were literally 2.5 days away from the promised land. Why did it take them 40 years? They were 2.5 days away. If they would have left Egypt, it would have been a 2.5 day walk over to the promised land. The problem was, if God lets you walk over, you are still undeveloped, unprepared, and not dealing with the reality of why you're there. So God took them around the long way because he needed to pull some things out of them and install some things in them, and they fought God at every step. This is how I got to the series, Purpose Over People. I'll tell you why. Sometimes people have so much influence in your life that it literally steals your identity. You are so busy pleasing and catering and stopping your world, especially women. Women will give up college. They'll give up all kinds of things to be with a man. You can finish the sentence. And after all that time given and all that time served and all those children, you can finish that story yourself. Because most people have this one common problem. I don't want to work on me. Because if I help you, I don't have to deal with my own reality. And it's time to look yourself in the mirror. I have 3 things for the mirror, but I'm not going to give them to you now. But you're going to have, that's why I said find in the mirror. And I kept saying, okay, Lord, why is it, why do I have find in the mirror? And he gave me the reason for it, and I will share that with you, but it's coming. I want you to write down Proverbs 11:1. I don't know if we have it, but it's a real simple thing. Proverbs 11:1, and I want you to have Psalm 67 and stanza 6. So the first slide I'm going to show you is purpose over people. The crowd that most of us are in is actually not our group. If you're the smartest one in the group, then you're in the wrong group. Ask me why. The others in the group can't pour nothing into you if you're the smartest. So then how do you grow? And so this is where it comes to the concept, purpose over people, because a lot of people look for kings and queens and pastors and apostles and all these titles that people have. And I said to a group of bishops, said to a group of apostles, said to a group of prophets, everybody in the church has a title now, but there's really not many people in the church. So how do we get titles? And nothing has grown the people. How do we get a new title every week? But our title is not making the land of God more fertile to produce believers. So here's the thing. Proverbs 11:1, what does it say? A false balance is an abomination unto the Lord, but a just weight. And I want to show you and I, how do we get a just weight? Well, here is the thing. I have an issue with my own reality. And here's where most people are. This is why we have such acts of violence. We have misfortunes. We have people who get in power, and they go to the left, they go to the right. Very few people go right down the middle of the road. And it's real simple. They're drowning in their own reality because sometimes how you think don't match your purpose or the vision that God has given you. Here's what one rapper said. You can't find happiness in the mall. You can buy all the name brand shoes you want to. You can get the latest and the greatest cell phone that you want to. You can root for a team that you say you like and love. You can have people in your life. But here is the reality. They don't advance you. They don't have the ingredients to take you or to bring out of you the gift that God has given you. And so what we're doing is we're drowning because we're delaying our development. Because it's not the most pretty, attractive thing is to be with God. God doesn't give us all the hypotheticals and all the attention and all of that we get from people. So we are filled with people and empty spiritually. So here's the thing, and people say this, just look how far you've come. People say, look how far you've come, and here's the secret. Are you on schedule? Are you on schedule with your gifts and talent that God has given you? Because what carnality does is make us look at people who have less. And we literally think we're ahead of them. Yes, you may be ahead of them, but they may be on schedule. Most of the time, you're not on schedule. You know why? You have no pilot in the sky. This is how this series came about. The series came about with this one thing. If I can answer every one of my issues and problems with my feelings and my emotions, then it's not the test of change. When God is trying to develop you, He is putting you in front of things that will cause you to adjust how you think. If you and I can answer everything in our life with our feelings and emotions, knee-jerk reactions, impulse thinking, then our intellect, you're smart enough, our intellect and intelligence and cognitive ability to focus is undeveloped. So I go through my life responding to everything. This is why we have random acts of road rage, because no one in my world can tell me no. No one in my world can make me deal with reality, because I'm just a young bunny. I'm Mr. Cool. Don't step on my shoes. People have died and been slapped for stepping on people's shoes, and the shoes are uncomfortable. Many of us right now have enough stuff in our closet, and we could have a flea market for 2 years. Because you can't get what you paid for it. Unless it was something really worth investing in. I'm drowning in my own reality. So when I look at my own reality, I just get anxiety, I get stress, I get issues, and my whole vision get blurry. You know why? Because our intellect and intelligence and cognitive ability, spiritual insight, spiritual foresight, all of that is asleep. It's dormant. And so sometimes God gets you and I in the seat of the pants to say, you're not developing. You have problems, but you're not growing. You have issues, but you're not growing. You're not developing. You're not maturing through it. Because if everything that you and I can answer is what our feelings and emotions, then we're walking through life undeveloped. We're dealing with a person on earth, but we don't have a pilot in the sky. So here we say again, no God in the sky. If we have a God in the sky, we can avoid many pitfalls. And I'll say it again. Just look how far I've come. But that doesn't mean I'm on schedule with my talents and my gift. And here is what most people never get. And many times you don't even hear it in church. Slide number 2. You don't even hear it in church. God has purpose for you and your life. The producer said, this season, we want to deal with don't gamble with your future. Here is the reality. I said this, but don't gamble with your inheritance, and don't gamble with your children's future. When I heard the great Steve Harvey say, identify your God-given gift. This is why companies like Ancestry.com and these other ones are making such a killing. It's because if someone paints your narrative, then you will never discover who you are. So somewhere, and here's the misconception. Most of your inheritance is not programmed for what you see. Your inheritance is programmed by what you find out that is unknown and what gifts that didn't get developed in past years. You have been giving the gift through somebody in your lineage. God didn't put one person on this earth that they did not inherit something, but yet you're looking at who got the house, who got the car, who got the job, who got the money, who got the painting in the room, who got Big Mama shoes, who got Papa tools. You're more worried on something instead of finding the seed. That can take you to the promised land. Because when you look in the mirror, you're not satisfied with yourself. So the easiest thing to do is close the mirror. Part of being in the mirror is to discover the unknown. There's something that was given and something in your lineage. Now watch this. Psalm 67 and 6. Stanza 6.
Okay. Then shall the earth yield her increase, and God...
Hold on. What are you made from? So why are you still mad at mama? Mama left too early. Mama gave me away as a child. I don't know who my dad is. It doesn't matter. There was something put in you, and there was purpose for you being here, and you don't see it because it has to be discovered. But because of the man on the ground has you worried about, I want to know who my dad is. And you should, and you have a right to. I want to know. I didn't have this, and I didn't grow up in this community. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to get before God. And you're going to have to build a relationship outside of meet my needs and I'm in desperation. And you had a question that somebody had asked. Go ahead and throw that question in. Hold on. Where you at? Go ahead, speak. I'm trying to find out where you're at. It probably died. Just go ahead. Use this one.
Oh, no, I'm on.
Okay.
Question is how do you determine your reality outside of self-assessment? Clearly.
Well, you know, Nicodemus asked the same question in a different format. See, most people, we identify with things, but we don't identify with the Creator. And what we're trying to do is fly before we ever enter the cocoon or the development in life. We don't want the process. We just want the answers. A caterpillar cannot become a butterfly until it goes through that process. When the Lord told Nicodemus, except a man be born of the water and of the Spirit, you want answers that only can be answered spiritually. And they come through revelation. They're not somewhere in the great book of the wizard. You have to go through the process. This is when spiritual insight comes in and spiritual foresight, because there are spiritual entities that want to keep you from meeting your destination. They're traps that's set up, and they're not all physical. Some of them are mental. They're not all physical potholes. There's not a pothole in the street, but there's a physical pothole because people will say things, and because they have lent themselves to it, and the New Testament says that when one wicked spirit gets in, it goes and gets 7 others, and they are very patient. They have one assignment: keep you from your destiny. And to create confusion in your reality. This is why this particular part, the mechanics of my reality. I need to set up a formula. I need to have a prayer life, a devotion time. I need to go into service. I need to go worship. I need to pray. I just don't need to ask God and then complain when I don't get an answer. Because we think God answers like our cell phones do. As soon as somebody calls, hello, on our watch. Hello, who is it? How can I help you? Yes. Okay, yes. Well, let's take section 3 and let's do 4 and click. God doesn't operate that way. God is about relationships and communion. And let me tell somebody else, and this is going to sting a little bit. God is not about the problem. God's all about the solution. God's like, oh God, oh Lord, oh God, oh me, oh my, I think I'm going to die. God says, well, according to my calendar, you don't die after 10 years from now, so you're just going through an exercise of futility. Oh, I don't know which way to go. The reason you don't know which way to go, you're always looking at the man on the ground and not the pilot in the sky. And you want answers. You want answers that you understand. You don't want to grow into the revelation. You don't want answers you only want answers that you understand in a human realm. Can I make it plain? Remember, I believe it was Job that said, even though thou slay me. Nobody want to finish that one, do they? Even though my whole world is torn apart, I'm going to trust what I don't see. So even in the midst of my confusion, God's got a plan. And here's what the adversary doesn't tell you, is that literally you have 2 birthrights. You have an earthly inheritance. The problem is you're looking for the finished product, and really many times it's a seed that has to be developed. It's an ideal that has to turn into a plan. It's a plan. What Big Mama had, what Papa had, what Granddaddy had, what Great Grandmother had, it is a plan that never got a chance to see a strategy. And you're letting the voice of other people and your own will stop you from getting in the window of revelation with God. The gentleman that built the computer, what was it, Steve Jobs? Who in the world knew what a computer was? But he had an idea. And even though he was rejected by many and lost multiple jobs, he believed in that idea, and he took the time to commit himself to it. You want to grow, but you don't want to commit yourself. Because you don't want any pain. You don't want to be seen dirty. Here's the problem. We were made from the dirt. And so that is a natural inheritance. God did not produce you to be unproductive. God produced you to be productive. You don't get productive by receiving. You get productive by sowing. The receiver never gets a seed. The receiver never gets the seed. It's always the sower. So here's what we're dealing with. You have 2 birthrights. You have a natural birthright because Psalm 67 and stanza 6 says what? It says that the earth should do what? Yield. So why do you pray these survival prayers? These struggle prayers? Why do you let your conscience tell you, oh, I'm struggling, it's so hard? God is not interested in the problem, but he will help you create a solution. Tell me that's not right. Y'all don't play with me now. I know my voice is a little raggedy, but don't play with me. Because he had Moses with a staff. And as many hills as Moses had climbed, and in as many mountains that Moses has climbed, he didn't know he had the answer in his hand. God can touch anything that you have and make it do something it ain't never done before. Told him to stretch out his rod. Right there in the midst of a bad situation, I want to show you I can do all things. I can do what you can't even imagine to do. But if you're not focused on me, and you don't have a resolve to just trust me. Because we like the story they said, and I got a friend, and they hooked me up. That's earthly. I need a pilot in the sky. So now, you have two birthrights. The first one is not the apple. It's not an orange. So you want something finished. If you want it finished, then what's there for your children? What's there for your children? Ask me why. If they don't see you work, how will they know how to work? If they don't see you sitting in the office, what would make them think they can sit in an office? If they don't see you walk through fire, what make you think they can walk through fire? I have an issue with my own reality. You have been given a gift, not a finished product. There's something in your lineage that you've got to go discover. Because when the broadcaster gave me that and he says, yeah, we want to deal with, don't gamble with your future. And as soon as I hit the air, I said, don't gamble with your inheritance. Because there's something you're about to leave behind. And see, here's the thing. And what really hit home to me is when Steve Harvey said, I have one friend that cuts grass. And he makes $4 million a year. And on the stream, it popped up that a guy was cutting grass. And so he makes $4 million a year. And then he says, your gift may be frying chicken. See, and so what it said to me, it said the reason that the majority of us are struggling is because you're not in your purpose. That's why you have so much hell. That's why you from one job to the next job, you can't get along and you can't do this and you can't do that because you're in the wrong place. That's like putting your right shoe on your left foot or putting your right shoe on your left hand and expect to walk on it. Your bones in your hand are not made like the bones in your feet. And so then you want God to do something when you out of joint, you're disjointed. Because your gift may be frying chicken. Y'all don't play with me now. Because I was having church last night by myself. Your job, your gift may be frying, but because chicken isn't popular and I don't want people to smell like grease and I don't want to be frying chicken, listen, you can get the vision and you can find people that are working for you that love the fried chicken. And you're allowing your gift to die. Your gift could be designing flower pots, and your gift could be making little fragments and little baskets, but because that's not where she's at, and she drives a Porsche, and he has a Mercedes. I want a Porsche, but your gift will take you places that your enemy can't even know your area code. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Because when God moves you, Satan looks for you in the old place that you were. He goes to your old address. And don't know that God has shifted you in the spirit. It's time to awaken to what God gift was given to you. And here's the thing, and I'm one that said, I do not like my gift. This is my gift. This is my call. This is my gift from God. I inherited through the great Reverend Lud Boozer, through Dr. S.L. Campbell, and it landed on me. I don't have to like it, but if I want to be successful, I've got to work the gift that I've been given. He said, you might be gifted to make pies. Oh, I don't want to make no pies. I don't want to make, because you know what? He gives you the seed. And once you master the seed and take the seed from an ideal to a plan to a strategy and to a process, you can get other people to make your pies. But you have patented your recipe. Oh, that's too much because we don't want to think like that. We just want the apple. See, we don't understand the earth. If you plant an apple tree, it's going to take 10 years for that apple tree to produce its first crop of apples, and they're going to be small. And so people are like, well, I don't want that. Here's the point. If it produces its first crop of apples, most apples will give you 4 seeds. And if you take those 4 seeds and replant them and take those little bitty apples, I think the last time we looked up how many things you can make out of apples, it was 63 plus. 63 different incomes. And you somewhere worried about what your friend's going to say about you making fried pies. No, you don't want some, but you like to purchase some. Okay? Because you give away, but you give away in the wrong reason. Can I make it plain? Help the needy and supply to the people that will give back to you. I said earlier, how much have your friends and your association given back to you? You want from God, but when God looks at you and I, he measures us through our relationship and our communion with him. So now you have 2 birthrights. Now here's what people will do, is they'll tell you don't have a birthright, so you can work for them in their birthright. One of my issues has always been, what make you think you can outthink me? If you can get paid for your idea, why can't I get paid for my idea? Oh, y'all stuck on that one. You have a natural inheritance. My question, have you discovered it? Are you developing it? Do you have a strategy for it? And are you processing it? You are not who you see in the mirror. That's just the framework. Oh, I wish I could help somebody in here. You are not what you see in the mirror. That's just the framework. Can I help somebody real quick? Any flaws in the mirror? The reason you have that flaw so you wouldn't put your attention on it. You need to put your attention on what will make you successful. But you don't see yourself there. Oh, Lord, I feel it here. That's why I slowed down. I got 10 minutes. You got to identify. And here's one of the first things you have to do. Accept your reality. Accept that you didn't spend time and work on you. You know why? You look for other people to validate you. He said, she said, they said, my job said, my boss said. What did God say? See, here's how God sees it. God says, look in the mirror. Well, I don't like myself. God said, I don't care about you didn't like yourself. I still gave you a gift. You still have accountability and responsibility to the source of life. Did you have another question before I go in real quick? See, here's the thing. Let me give you a step here. Because I know it's been kind of tight. Has it been tight? If some people say it's tight, some people say it ain't. It's a little rough. Let me tell you something. Accepting my own reality, identify your God-given gift. Now, Now, I said there's two parts to your birthright. One's an inheritance. Two is a spiritual birthright. So now how are you going to fail? Come on, somebody get Psalms 67 stanza 6. How are you going to fail if you're made from the earth, and if you were to put something in you, whatever you put in the earth, God has said for it to yield something back. So how can you invest in you and lose? The reason you don't have nothing is you gave everything to everybody else trying to get friendship. Learn to like yourself. I didn't say be egotistical with yourself. Learn to like yourself and the gifts you have. And if you mess up, just get up. Some people are down on themselves. Oh, you know, I did this. And some people can't help themselves. And that ain't my group. I'm sorry. I had a friend that called me, and I asked him one question. He didn't call back. I know what happened. And I just realized that some people, that this ain't for them. I understand. If it ain't for you, I understand. Change the channel. Go somewhere where somebody going to blow smoke up your butt and tell you how great you are, and God's going to give you all this stuff. And I'm still going to hold to the scripture that if you don't put nothing in, you don't get nothing out. The Bible said, whatsoever man. So if you don't sow, you can't reap. So what you looking for? Bible says a man don't work. So why are you feeding him? He ain't going to get on his feet. No, let him be hungry. He'll get on his feet. Well, he going to get there. He going through some stuff. Hell, we all going through some stuff. I would like to not pay my bills. I was mad on the first when I saw the mortgage come out. I said, what was the first on, y'all?
Monday.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I have to let that one alone then. I said, man, they done hit me already. They couldn't wait till the 3rd or the 5th. I believe they said that joke in on the 30th. As soon as the first.
12:01.
Yeah, click. You don't know if I was on my way to the bank or what. Listen, there's a second part. Come on, read Psalm 67, stanza 6.
Then shall the earth yield her increase.
So are you not of Mother Earth? So why do you go around and always want to feel like you second class? You from the same dirt everybody else is. Yeah, that didn't. So what's your excuse? Well, you know, I didn't have no mom and no dad, and you know, I was raised by my grandma. Did you live? Yeah. Well, you ain't got no excuse. Did you have a TV? Yeah. You could have watched some shows and saw some role models. The problem is you wanted to make your problems your identity. You want to make your issues your identity. You want to make failure your personality. You want to make struggle your home. And so this is why we have all these the struggle is real. No, that's because you keep making stupid decisions. Because the Bible says that you're from Mother Earth. Somebody real quick on the other side, go find the scripture where God created man out of the dust of the earth. So if you don't put nothing in yourself, then you don't value yourself. Y'all then. Well, I'm waiting on Prince Charming. Prince Charming probably buck teeth with cross eyes and a long head. You better get on that mule and ride yourself. Oh, I want me a pretty girl. You better look over beauty and find some substance. All right. So where you come from? So who better? So where's all this low self-esteem come from? Your mind. You devalue yourself because of the failures. Because you're looking at the man on the ground and not the pilot in the sky. And you allow other people's opinion. I have that in here somewhere. I don't mean to say it this way, but I'm going to crack our face and help us. Oh, yeah, I got it in here. All right, come on, Psalm 67, stanza 6. That's okay. We know it's about dead.
Then shall the earth yield her increase.
So what are you made of?
Earth.
And you should yield. So what's the survival thing we got going on? I'm just making it. If you got a job, and I don't mean this, and it's going to hurt, and all it does is pay your bill, that's your fault. There's no yield in struggle. But if you are made from Mother Earth, there's no yield in struggle. Come on, read it. That's okay. Next slide. Go ahead, take that one. Don't let the enemy bother, because he's been cutting up all day. He cheated me $300 at the bank, and I sat there and I said, "Now Jesus, is this a test, or am I gonna have to go to jail? Because I need my change. I got to pay for my granddaughter's thing." And I sat there at the window and I said, "Now Satan, I know this you, and I know I can count." And then somebody come back to my, I left your money. I just had to say, okay. Come on.
Then shall the earth yield her increase, and God.
Who?
God.
Y'all ain't got no pilot in the sky. You worried about what they said rather than what's the plan. You don't understand the Bible when you had enemies that was on every side and they stumbled and they fell. So it don't matter who set up traps against you. They'll stumble and fall. You more focus on the enemy than the one that's guiding you. Come on.
Even our own God shall bless us.
So what? Bless who?
Us.
So if you're from Mother Earth, what's your excuse for still being in poverty? That's right, you don't have one. Because just in the natural realm, you have inherited something that should yield you something. You waiting on somebody to die. Yeah. Well, if they go on and die, I can get that house. If they go on and get sick, I can drive that car. What good is giving it to you and you can't keep it up? What is the things, 4 things I say? Prepare for it, acquire it, maintain it, and advance it. If you're not prepared to take it over, and you haven't acquired the skills, then you can't maintain it or advance it. God has given you something that you have left on the side of the road. So here's what happened. Here's the thing. Everybody agree with identify your God-given gift? All in favor say identify. I want you to raise your hand, because I'm finna give you a covenant. Yeah, nobody want to raise their hand like, oh, no, I don't know about that one. Yeah, like, hold on, wait a minute, what you gonna say? Now you got to build on it. Yes, because now that you have sat under this lesson, God has no interest in your excuses. Because you got a twofold birthright. You have a family inheritance. I don't particularly care about mine, but God don't care about my opinion either. He don't. That's why I tell people I'm on parole, because if you went through what I went through, you'd be up here too. See, it's one thing to fight with people, but you can't fight God. When God said, "Give me your breath," beating your chest, you got, and they put you in the EMS and say, "He gone." I'm glad old people are around, because I can take y'all down to 11 Bluff Drive, and everyone will tell you he died in the back of that ambulance. Ambulance. Y'all know that word. You heard that word from your grandma, didn't you? Ambulance. Here come the ambulance. Y'all get out the way. God Street, boy. Here come the ambulance. So I know I'm on parole. Because this is a gift I don't even like. But God didn't ask me my opinion. You got a gift that you may not like. But that gift will take you to places that your happiness won't. Like the rapper say, you've never found happiness in the mall. So here's the thing. Once you identify your God-given gift, now you got to build on it. Fixing me, stopping generational curses. Work on you. Now here's the thing. As I close, don't carry the burden or the opinions of others. How the enemy has controlled multiple people and multiple generations is one, they denounce your race. And they give you their opinion of what you can be. I remember the great Willie Mays, who's still alive, when he graduated high school, either in the 40s or the late 40s, around 50s. They had already determined what he would be. They said he would be a dry cleaner worker. And to this day, is one of the greatest baseball players that have ever lived. See, but here's the catch. There was other people. Let your imagination. They didn't have anything like that on their diploma. Because sometimes people try to write your narrative and you stupid enough to follow it. They said he will work at the dry cleanings and would make a good dye worker. And when they looked at other people's diploma, they could be whatever they wanted to be. My brothers and sisters and future believers, it is time to get over the opinions and the burdens of failure and other people. And so they asked for his diploma. And I think somebody was offering $2.5 million for it. And he was taking all of the money to help the kids back in Alabama. Because when you let other people determine what you can be, you will never find and discover yourself. When you let whatever shortcomings you have define who you are and what you are, you will never become what you're supposed to be. If you let everything that is wrong in your life stop you from progressing and working on your life, you will never become what you can become. The great Willie Mays, they call him the perfect baseball player. See, you don't have to be the perfect size, the perfect color, the perfect shape, have the perfect hair, the perfect family. You just got to be willing to try. Don't carry the burden of the opinions of others. Focus on what you control. Because when you take your natural God-given gift, whatever it is in your family, whatever it is in your DNA, and then you take your spiritual birthright, there's no room for failure. But here is the key. No one will make you take the wheel. I'm going to give you this, and I'm going to try to remember this on Sunday. It is time now in your life to create a balance sheet. It's time to create a balance sheet in your life. The Bible says a false balance. You work, but you have no skills, you have no education. You're out of balance. You have a house, you have a home, you have a spouse, but you're not happy. You have money, but you have no vision. False balance. You have insecurities, false balance. You're not comfortable with yourself, false balance. You have an ego, false balance. Your attitude, your egotistical, is a sign of insecurity. You are responsible for creating a balance sheet in your life. If you want that next level, what does it require? 3 more years of school. What would those 3 years of school advance you? If you're unhappy in your home, you don't need to look at your spouse. You need to look in the mirror and say, what can I do better? If your finances are in bad shape, you got to look at the one that received the money. And if you're not making enough money, you might need to find a new career, not a job. If you have a nice car and you have a nice home and you have a nice person in your life and you still feel unbalanced, you need to bring your big lip to church. Oh, I knew that would make some people, Yeah, because listen. Right now, I can tell you, it's more than one race with big lips. So y'all can say what y'all want to say. It's a lot of big lip people out there. Now, I mean, because when I say something like that, everybody's all still. So I got to throw a curveball in there. Like I'm going to have to smash your lips when I get off this TV camera. So just because you live in a $1.5 million community doesn't mean that you have balance. And the problem with people who want that, they think those kind of artificial things bring balance. They don't bring balance. Because the person who's living in a $1.5 million home get jealous of somebody living in a $2.5 million home. And both of them can be blown. Let a flood come through. Let hell come through. Knock out all the windows, tear down the roof, fall in. All your pictures and taking pictures, all that be just underwater. This is irreplaceable. Sure is. And what did God do? Just washed it right on down the street. Your car turned upside down on top of somebody's Plymouth. You somewhere mad about your Porsche. Your Porsche down the street, tires blowed off of it. Stuck on the Hyundai. And out of all that unhappiness, you still haven't stopped and thank God that he let you live. So God sees where your value's at. This is why as I close, I'm saying, now you have to create. Now you ask the question, can I give you the answer to it? The Bible says, David said, now Lord, create in me and a new heart. Uncircumcised, circumcise my heart. Wash me with hip-hops. Romans 12, 1 and 2, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercy of God, by the renewing. Say this with me, because y'all looking rough. It can't happen without you, sister. It can't happen without you, brother. You just want it to happen and you walk up and everything is done. Then you're living in a false narrative. Because God says, it is not it that I need to develop. It is you. God bless you.